So let's talk about the finale to the WandaVision series. So, like we said, there is not going to be a second season. This is a completely contained story. And now we have all the parts. Of course, spoiler warnings ahead, as is normal here on the
Could be a
Untitled Chapter.
spoiler-gasm, let's be honest.
Right, right. A spoiler gasm. So I will definitely start off with saying that I enjoyed it. I think there are a lot of fan theories that did not come to fruition, and I've seen a little bit of backlash because of that. I don't think that is fair. So I think in itself, I think it was a really, really cool story. I felt that basically this show had a couple of goals to accomplish, and I think they did that. I think number one is to establish the Scarlet Witch and her power level, as whereas where she is at and what has led her to be the villain of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I know that's something that is also getting a little bit of backlash as far as Wanda being a villain. I've seen on Twitter Wanda stands not happy with that whatsoever. But, she's not going to end up being like a villain. I mean, she is a superhero, but we're learning a lot about her. We're learning her story, and we learned a large part about her trauma, really. I mean, this whole show is really about her trauma and what she has gone through from ding to dong and what has got her to this point. I
Like, do
feel,
people forget that in the comics, like, the whole series was based off of where she was the villain?
mhm,
And when they brought her into the MCU for the whole, what, 3/4 of Age of Ultron, she was a villain?
right. Yeah. I mean, and she was with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants in the comics, just like you said. So it's definitely not beyond the source material whatsoever.
Now, it's not
I
intentionally being a villain.
right, right, exactly. I feel that another goal that this series was to do was to establish Monica Rambeau as Spectrum or Photon. So I definitely feel that we did that. But yeah, I felt that. Yeah, okay, it wasn't the House of M. Okay, that's fine. They hinted at it, but I've talked about, how Marvel likes to do, kind of like to bait and switch almost sometimes. So,
Mhm. I mean, we got the most expensive boner joke that will ever exist.
right, yes. Alluding to the last name of the
To that
person,
boner.
Boner, yeah. Um, So there we go. With that, Jelly Rose, as we normally do, I want to get your thoughts. You don't have to break down the whole episode for us. I mean, we will certainly walk through it a little bit, but as our Wanda fangirl, now that it's all over, we got a mid-credit scene, we got an end-credit scene. Give us your thoughts. Give us a 9, or give us a rating scale, something between 1 and 10. How you like the series?
P.S. He's
So,
expecting a 9, just in case you didn't hear that.
like
Yeah,
a
Dar
15,000. I loved it.
nice.
Some of my questions that I had last week were kind of answered. But then I'd have like a billion more questions because that's just how I roll.
Yeah,
We got to see where, we kind of left off, what she was doing to the kids, what she kind of wanted. She was trying to exchange the kids for, Wanda's power.
mm-hmm.
Um, Wanda's pretty much like, fuck that shit. They're fighting. The kids are over there. We did see that, the kids and Vision are tied to the world.
Right,
Because, Agatha is trying to get her way. So she kind of starts letting people out of, their little thing. And they're like, let Daddy's like, I just want to hold my daughter. She can be the bully. She can be anything. Just let her out of her room. And she's like, and my name's Sarah, not Daddy.
yeah,
The fact that she said she hasn't left her room that whole
yeah,
time, like, I thought we were going to get some morbid shit going on there. I'm like,
Right. Like we talked about how some of the kids, she can't control everybody. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
people weren't moving on the outside. The one commercial kind of played at, hey, people aren't kind of moving. They're kind of slowly dying, the ones that aren't doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, we seen where Monica is. She's trapped in a dude's bedroom. He's kind of keeping her, which I have tons of questions about that. Um, we see that he has the necklace on. She takes it off. Now were the speed powers given to him by
Mm-hmm.
Agatha to, you know, pretend to be the brother, or does he actually have those?
Yeah, that is weird because they did not explain that at all.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about the boner jokes. Like we did discover that Agatha was controlling him through this necklace that he was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
But like Jelly's saying, he still had these super speed
Yep.
powers, though. So it definitely tells us, okay, this isn't like an alternate reality Pietro,
Mm-hmm.
because again, they give it this like Kyle Boner or something like that. This was
It
an
was Ralph.
actual Ralph
Ralph
Boner, right?
Boner.
That's
He
why she kept
was,
saying, Ralph is at home doing
yeah,
this, Ralph that, but we
I
never
didn't even
seen
put that
Ralph.
together. Holy shit. Thank you for
yeah.
saying that.
You're welcome.
Yep, that's right. I remember that exactly. But yeah, he's just some dude that lives there. So, I mean, I can only conclude that she imbued him with these powers, but I don't know.
I mean, we still don't know who the hell the witness protection person was either.
Yeah,
That's
they
true.
never
Brought
went
that up
back to
too.
that. We
We
never
don't
saw
know
what
who
happened to the beekeeper.
Or the
yeah,
fucking
the
rabbit.
beekeeper.
Yeah, or the
Right,
rabbit.
like where'd the rabbit go? And then it was funny because okay, there's a couple other points I want to say
Yeah.
before the funny thing, but we got to see Darcy again. She, fucked up Mr. McShitty Face. She's like, have fun going. Did she say jail or prison? I can't remember. Have fun going to jail.
yeah. I can't remember jail or
I
prison
think
either.
like clutched her in, yeah. He's like,
Great.
peace.
So that was cute. So then the big one, Vision meets Vision. And, Vision being intelligent is, what's your objective? To destroy Vision. Who's Vision?
Yeah.
He's like, when he explains the boat thing, as you repair the boat, you have this and this, like what one is actually Vision. And we got to see him, touch him and kind of like break him out of his thing, because he's like, your memories are still there. Where the fuck did he go?
Yeah.
He noped out. We
Yeah.
didn't
Like,
see him in anything
well,
afterwards. He got all of his stuff back and he went
Mhm.
"Bloop."
I think in the comics, when that happened, when he gets his memories unlocked, he's still like he's emotionless, isn't he, D? Where he's just like, I know who you are, but fuck you guys, I really don't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why he was like flooded with emotions and then flew out. So I don't think he is still 100% himself.
So he's kind of trying to process everything. That kind of makes sense.
How the hell all right, I have to recall. Why the hell didn't he phase out when Thanos was snatching the stone to begin with? Did you see that shit when he
Yeah.
went to I was like, what?
Well,
Yeah.
they were doing shit to him. Maybe he wasn't at full capacity
Well,
because they were trying to
Oh, he
kind of
was
like
damaged. That is
remove it.
right.
not only
I
that,
forgot
but
about that.
Thanos had the other Infinity Stones in the Infinity Gauntlet. He had the Reality Gem, all that
True.
shit.
And he
So,
had like grabbing him. Yeah.
right.
But it's
So,
just I laughed when he was like, yeah, I've basically been through that before, and he phased through it. I'm
yeah.
like, what the fuck? Endgame never happened.
Right? And then, they're fighting. She's, going through the motions. She's kind of like, here, take all this shit. And, she's hitting her. You can see, Agatha, absorbing it, but she's also hitting the walls. And all of a sudden, she can't do nothing. And, she's kind of like, hey, I learned because this whole time Agatha is like provoking her, like, you have the power, you just don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
You haven't been taught. And she's like, thanks, for the lesson. And
Yeah,
I
because
just
she
thought it
made
was
all these
hilarious.
runes around the hex.
Like
Uh,
gigantic rooms.
so
Oh
in
yeah.
in the contained space, only Wanda's magic will work, and that's how Agatha gets taken care of.
Which then I have questions about that because then we see, she's like, I'm assuming she absorbed all of Agatha's powers.
Sure, yeah,
Because
that's
she
what.
kind of just.
I wouldn't
So
say
then
all because we've seen when they become like corpse, like skeletons when they lose all their powers. So I think she
but
still had something.
she's the Scarlet Witch. She doesn't kind of play by most of the rules, too, though.
True. I guess it's.
I get
I
the
can see either
impression
way.
they're going to be teaming up, so one
Yeah,
way or the
you
other.
I kind of get that, too.
Wanda's hands were like zombified when she was being
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absorbed. So I don't know. I think she, yeah.
But
Mm.
then, she kind of goes, okay, you're going to play the nosy neighbor. But she did this inside when the hex was still active. My
right.
question is, once it's gone, does that go away, or is that a completely different thing? Because, as she's doing stuff inside the hex, Agatha points out, this is a broken spell. It's always going to be a broken spell. And that's kind of how she was trying to play, hey, give me your powers and I'll fix this. And then she's like, once the spell's cast, it can't be changed. Ha ha
Mhm.
ha, I tricked you. But then Wanda's like, no, I got you, bitch. But she does this while it's inside the hex. So now I'm kind of like, once it's gone, is it kind of, does it go to, or is it affected in any way, shape, or form?
I guess it depends if she linked the spell to the actual hex. The way that she like transformed her looked almost like she directly took control of her individually. That's how I took it, but that's a good question.
Right, because she has a tiny little bit of knowledge now. She knows
Yeah.
of herself and what she's doing,
Mhm.
but can she actually, you know, do the things that she wants to do without it being tied to that? I think that might be another thing. It might end up being like a weak spell because she doesn't have the knowledge, and Agatha might be able to break free later, unless
Mhm.
this is some sort of separate into where she is really confined as the nosy neighbor.
I'm wondering because then you hear that exchange where she's like, "You will need me," and she's like, "Well, I'll know exactly where you're at." So
Right.
I'm assuming she maybe like linked her to that neighborhood, or maybe it's not to the hex, but she can't leave that area.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they write that because I think it is definitely within Wanda's power level to put a spell on Agatha to keep her there,
Mhm.
regardless if the hex is there or not. But to Jelly's point, Wanda is very new at this still, so she could have cast a spell
Mhm.
that at some point will wear off or Agatha can get past. But I do believe that you referenced that, you're going to need me. I know where to find you. Um, Definitely looks like they're going to be teaming up, possibly against the god of chaos magic, which is his name's like Clue or Cluth or something crazy like that. And he actually resides in a mountain, and it's been rumored that how at the end of the credits, at the very end,
Mhm.
we see that Wanda is in a cabin alone, but we actually see two Wandas because we see one Wanda just kind of hanging out drinking tea. Then we see the other Wanda who's like studying the chaos magic book.
Like
She's
she's
doing
straight out Doctor
astral
Strange that shit.
projection,
Yeah,
like, yeah, like Doctor Strange.
that's
So
the
my
first thing I
question is,
thought of. I was like,
in this new Doctor Strange, is she the villain or is she learning from him?
I don't think she's learning from him because of what Agatha said, which is interesting, which
yeah,
was, oh shit, I'm paraphrasing, you're the Scarlet Witch, you are stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. And when my wife didn't catch it, but when she said that, I was like, oh shit, okay. So in this universe, they're straight saying you're stronger
And
than
Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange. So I think she's going to be a villain. Now I think it's going to be
I
a
mean,
villain though, like she is in this, where it's kind of like
they did
unwittingly. I don't.
put the point of, she's the harbinger of chaos, she's going to
Yeah,
bring destruction to the world. But if you think of it this way, wouldn't it be beneficial if Doctor Strange taught her to control it to where she wouldn't that be more of a
yeah,
directive from him to prevent it that way? If he wasn't able to get rid of her, why not teach her to where that doesn't happen?
yeah.
That's a good point. I would play off like that last scene. I yeah, that sealed it for me. And we'll dive more into it, but just you could tell in her eyes and what she's looking for. I think she doesn't give a shit what anybody wants. She wants her kids, and that's where she's going for, which prelude to like House of M, where that's what caused her to just lose her
Yeah.
shit. Like, I think she still can be the cause of the multiverse shit because she starts dabbling, trying to find her kids. With the Darkhold, where are her kids? I'm assuming hell.
Well, I'm still thinking the Mephisto route. I just
Which is
obviously
hell,
they
isn't
didn't
it?
do it in. Well, yeah, exactly. They just not doing it as a show. I think we're going to get to see more of that in the multiverse of madness, or it could even be beyond that because they're
Mm-hmm.
setting up the Young Avengers, and so they still have some people to set up. So we're definitely gonna. And while we're talking about it, I guess let's get there. So we talked about, okay, so basically Wanda versus Agatha. Okay, that got resolved. Wanda outsmarted her with the runes, took care of her, put her under a spell where basically she's back to the nosy, ultra smiley neighbor again. Um, then Monica Rambeau was actually being held captive by the fake Pietro, Ralph Boner. And so that got resolved. She escaped from him.
Get boner.
Boner. We saw Mick Shittyface try to shoot the children, so he goes to an all new depth of asshole. Thankfully, Monica Rambeau steps in front of the bullets, absorbs them, which was kind of a cool scene because you see the bullets go through her, but then they drop, like as soon as they go past her, they go down to the ground, and then even Vision helps out a little bit there. That's, of course, until the White Vision comes. They have their Superman battle, which was cool. All sorts of phasing in, phasing out. But then what was really interesting was then they just kind of stopped and they talked. They're like, "Hey, let's resolve this peacefully," and they did. I was like, "Okay, that's cool."
Right, like that was confusing for a second. It's like, oh,
Can we just applaud him for being Vision? Like, dude is insane, and I don't know too much about Vision in the comics, D. So maybe you can answer this. Is he very like very? How do I say it? Like very mythological, like that in the comics. Like, is that how he talks?
Yeah, because he was still, created by Hank Pym. He is a living computer. It's probably a little bit more organic in the MCU than it is in the comics.
I
But yeah,
I
no,
think
Paul
it's
Bettany
fucking
does a great
perfect.
job. Yeah, Paul Bettany does a great job, and I know he hates putting on the makeup, but at least he seems to really enjoy the character, which is awesome. It sure is. But yeah, so after all that's resolved, right? Then WandaVision is over, and I know I've heard people complain, why aren't we getting to season 2? You don't understand. WandaVision basically stopped halfway through this episode when McShittyface confirms they're no longer broadcasting. WandaVision is referring to this TV show reality. It is over. There's no more WandaVision after this episode. Because one thing that Agatha Harkness does do, which kind of proves that she's not the villain, but she is in this show, but kind of not, is she awakens people that are in the town and everybody's pleading to Wanda. Jelly Rose talked about it where she's like, my name's not, my name's Sarah. Please let my kid out of the bedroom and all that. And Wanda's saying, oh no, you guys are all peaceful and comfortable and well taken care of. And they're like, no, when you sleep, we get your nightmares. So she basically undoes the hex, but she leaves a small little pocket of it there so that her, Vision, and the boys can walk home, put the kids to bed, knowing that you're never going to see them again. And then
I bawled my eyes out.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, are they really doing this? Like,
I'm like, wait a minute, is she just gonna do it right on the house and they can just stay in the house?
Yeah.
But no, it's just completely gone, and I'm like,
and yeah, the kids in Vision are not there.
But the thing that he said, he's like, I'll see you again or something like that. So
we'll get Vision back. We will. I think that the White Vision will.
Referencing the other him.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I think we're going to get him back. I don't think they're going to follow the comics exactly.
She doesn't know that what he did to the other Vision.
Right.
Because she was fighting Agatha, and then all of a sudden, the other one's gone. So like maybe she just assumes that he fucked up the other one. Because before last time we were talking of hey, we got Vision versus Vision. What's going to happen? Is he going to take over the other one? Right. Is this one going to cease? And she finally does tell him, you are the piece of the Mind Stone that's inside of me.
So she could imbue, the other one with the piece of the Mind Stone that she still has.
True.
That's very true.
Put like a mini hex on him.
Mm-hmm. So that was heart-wrenching.
Memories and things, so maybe she can imbue the humanity back into him. Maybe that's why she's studying so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we heard the kids in that last scene too of, Mom, help.
Oh, that got me. And then her eyes, and she just like that smirk. I was like, oh shit's about to go down.
And that's kind of why I think there's this multiverse of madness, because I think, in the games, in the comics, we kind of see that she can go multidimensional. Mm-hmm. Does she go to another dimension and pick her kids out from there, which causes some sort of ripple? And maybe that's what the Doctor Strange one's about too, to where she done fuck shit up again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think hell is technically its own dimension, isn't it, D, in the comics?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what she does in the comics for the most part, is fuck shit up and somebody else has to fix it?
For the most part, listen, she did help. She did help resolve a very big problem back in Avengers vs. X-Men, her and Hope together, so it's not all bad. But yeah, so yeah, at the end of the show, we see that Wanda is combing through that Chaos Magic book.
Oh, they did confirm it is the Darkhold.
The Darkhold, yes.
Also leads to believe that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer canon, because the Darkhold was in that and it was completely different.
Yeah, good. But yeah, so we see her in her new costume,
which is fucking awesome.
I think it's awesome too. I got complaints of people are like, "Oh, the thing is not big enough." Like, you're not going to get that in the movies. Just like when Wolverine comes out, he's not going to have those big flappy things.
We got it in the Halloween episode. Shut up.
Right.
It's very true.
Like, this is very, this can be an iconic suit. Like, I think it's great. Awesome.
Yeah, it's not as accentuated, which is fine.
Cosplayers already make it.
And it's very reminiscent of Magneto's.
Yeah.
From the Fox universe. That's
just a crazy complaint. It's not pointy enough. It's like, what? Is that what we're...
It's not pointy. We need it bigger, larger, pointier, more red. It's not the right shade of red, guys.
Oh my, jeez, OP.
Isn't it actually? Now I'm thinking about it. Like, I could see who wore it better, like her next to Jean Grey, because didn't she also wear something similar as the Phoenix? And
Yeah, she did. She had like a red dress on. Exactly. All she needed was the little pointy tiara, and she would have been the Scarlet Witch.
Oh my. So, another thing we see, random dude go up to Monica and was like, "Hey, you know, your mother's friend needs some help," and boom, you know, Mister, those are scrolls, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
scroll. Yep. Points
So
to
then Hubs
up
is like,
there. Well, see, so Sword has a giant battle station that orbits Earth called the Triskelion. If I said that right. Triskelion, something like
I
that.
think it's called a hex in the MCU
Okay, the Hex in the MCU.
because they
But
talked. I'll have to go back to Far From Home, but I think they say like I think they dub it the hex when they're reading like where they're at the end of the credits.
oh, interesting. But yeah, she's going to get to go back up to space again, which McShittyface
which she
denied
wanted.
her. So fuck him completely.
He was like, "Yeah, your friend said he heard you were grounded. He would like to see you."
Yeah. So that's cool. That's some Captain Marvel 2 stuff, I believe. Because in the comics, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, heavily involved in Sword. So
Well, she could also be in Nick Fury's Secret Invasion show too.
yep, absolutely. So yep, yeah, I think Secret Invasion is going to be the next big thing because seeing a Skrull again, which I mean, you knew they were there from the
Oh
Spider-Man
yeah,
stuff, but seeing it again, it's like okay, we're going with Secret Invasion.
I just gotta say, like, how fucking badass this was as a series. Like, I was not
Oh yeah,
excited for Winter Soldier and Falcon, but now I am. Like, because we all know that's going to be the more action show versus the
sure.
psychological. But if they're putting this much effort in a fucking 6 to 8 episode one off, potentially, like, I'm excited. Like, they could probably get away from most movies and just do like major Avenger movies
Oh
and
yeah,
just do everybody in shows. And I'd be okay with it now at this point. Like,
oh yeah, oh yeah. They definitely could. I mean, just to be honest with you, I don't see a need for movies. You could just do these types of shows on Disney Plus, and we're with it all day long. But
It really
you
helps
want
build out the characters and stuff because you
right,
get more time.
right,
There's only so much in the show, and then you kind of have to put together some pieces and have some knowledge or remember an Easter egg or something from another
right.
movie, and you know it kind of helps. Really, the normies go through all the
mhm.
movies and stuff
Yeah.
too. It keeps them in it because you
If
know
they
we were
could actually
talking
watch
before.
the damn show instead of
Well,
complaining.
Yeah,
that's a
if
great
they
point
actually freaking watch it.
because that's a great point because Al, correct me if I'm wrong, because this could have changed, but to my knowledge, our mother
Mhm.
still has not watched WandaVision, right?
She refuses. I tell her all the time
Okay,
she has no interest.
but yet she is super excited about Multiverse of Madness. She's going to be lost.
She may be. I did read something actually. Kevin Feige, when he approached Raimi, told him that he wants it to be a direct connection, but I'm paraphrasing. It has to be easy for normies to follow who refuse to watch the show.
Okay, well maybe, okay.
But I mean, let's see. Maybe he might do something cheesy like, "Oh, Wanda, you caused this when you took over that New Jersey city. Move on." Like,
Well, right, or like, hey, where'd you get the new costume? You know, like,
but yeah, I follow up to what you were mentioning a couple episodes ago, where this is going to start separating the true fans and the normies. Because if you can't get through 2 or 3 episodes of something like this, you sure in the hell aren't going to understand when multiverses and different space travel. Like, come
Kang. Oh my God, you guys don't even. Please, Kang. Gore the God Butcher. I mean, you guys got shit coming. Yeah,
on, dude, fucking Christian Bale as a villain. I can't wait.
that'll be great. That'll be great. And
Um,
we'll
and it's grounded, but we're also getting the real Mandarin here in Shang-Chi, which right
yeah,
there, if you're not a martial arts fan, that's all like that's gonna
mystical kung fu,
Mhm.
ancient Chinese secrets. Yep.
Be like, wait a minute, I thought the Mandarin was in Iron Man 3. What is this?
You're not gonna
Yeah,
understand it.
If you don't see that Hail to the King MCU short, you've got no clue.
I hope they reference that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, how many people read books and then watch the movies and complain, and vice versa, and then some people just watch movies, and somebody that's read the book is like, well, you would know about this if you read this.
Yeah.
It's in every kind of
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
everything. So we're always going to have those people that are just going to watch the movies.
Omega Level Nerd D Square here. I hope you enjoyed this little excerpt from our show, the Omega Level Nerds podcast. I really do appreciate you checking us out. If you like what you watched today, then please check us out. There is the link to the whole entire show, over an hour's worth of some nerdy goodness for you. So definitely hope you check it out. Well, thank you very much. As always, peace and love. We'll talk to you again soon.